Herb. Herb is a plant. I mean, herbs are good for everything. Herb.
Good evening. You made it to Eugene Cannabis TV, and we have our special guest tonight. Eileen is with us, and I really want to welcome Eileen. She's picked a new name to go by, which fits in so beautifully, and I hope she'll tell us how it came about. So what's the given name? What's the new name, Eileen?
Well, my real name is Eileen Erdelt, and that means Old Earth Light. And I was given a name for the first time in my 46 years this past Saturday. It just came to me, and it's weed. And I realized that it just fit me very well, and so I took it.
Excellent,
yeah.
Excellent. Yes, weed. Yeah, I've always liked the word, especially connected to cannabis, because I always said it's easy to grow it. That's why they call it a weed.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah, that's excellent. So,
yeah.
How did that come about again?
Well, it was a morning when I was just relaxed, and I've been going through and learning a lot. A lot of changes have happened in my life, and it just came. I wasn't even asking for it. It just came.
That's right.
Yeah.
Great. Great. Well, Eileen has written a book, and I say written a book, I'm talking longhand.
Yeah.
And did a heck of a job on it, and she's about that with her tonight. And so Eileen would like to talk pretty much this evening, and hemp is the main goal, the main thing we want to talk about. We need more hemp in the Hemp Fest. I always like to keep bringing up, so I'm hoping Eileen can help us with that.
Yes. Yeah. Lots of exciting changes and stuff happening all over. I think what I've been learning a lot is that everyone is going conscious around us. Things are changing very rapidly, and people are learning the truth very rapidly because of educational hemp expositions and medical marijuana laws in our country. And as I speak with my fellow Americans and my brothers and sisters, I hear more and more about how everybody wants change and everybody's open to change. And our farmers could use a great crop, and that great crop is hemp. We need new crops, and hemp will enable us to make paper. This is hemp paper. It'll enable us to stop cutting down all of our trees and grow fields of it for our economy, because that is what we're pretty addicted to, is that feeling that our economy has to be healthy. So for a healthy economy, we have to have a healthy earth, and hemp is the plant that will enable us to live rich lives the way we are supposed to.
That pretty much tells the way it is. Tree-free hemp paper. Tree-free. I like that.
Yeah, that's right.
The problem with making hemp, making paper out of trees is that it takes a lot of chemicals. It's quite a process. They have to bleach it. There's all kinds of nasty things they have to do to it to make it into paper. It's not the case with hemp. And so, plus the fact that hemp is an annual crop,
right,
versus, say, how many years?
Yeah,
crop,
every year it grows.
Yeah, I remember Condi used one of my favorite quotes was, he said, "How can a fiber from a 3,000-year-old tree be worth less than?" I forget the exact thing, but it could be less than an annual plant, you know.
Yeah. So people are becoming aware that this is the one crop that our government or the DEA and all of those people who are power seekers and control seekers, they don't want us to grow. And that lights off a light bulb in our heads and says, why don't they want us to grow a nice, green, beautiful plant that will give us fuel, excellent food, fiber for clothing, paper, numerous goods? And what is that reason? It's because they are in bed with the petrochemical companies who want to sell you nasty, toxic plastic things instead. And since our country is in such dire straits and we have such economic problems, all we have to do is be the smart and genius people that we are, Americans, and grow the world's finest plant and help the world and help the earth to be healthy and rich.
You know, I'm wondering, if could a person get 2 crops of hemp a year in our climate?
I believe some climates can.
That's what I wonder too.
We were speaking just a few minutes ago, Dan and I, about the fact that hemp marijuana grows very well in Northern California, Southern Oregon. I'm sure you've heard of Humboldt County in California. And the fact that it's just about the same latitude as Afghanistan. So we've got really great growing conditions from Los Angeles all the way up to Vancouver. And we won't need to be going to Afghanistan anymore once our farmers are allowed to grow a crop that will take our country out of its economic crisis. We have engineers, we have people who are so smart, scientists in America who can change our system around and make hemp paper, hemp fabric, and we can help the other countries to learn also what a more healthy way that is to get our needs met than to use plastics and toxic materials. So that's really good news.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. The book here that Eileen brought in, Hemp Husbandry, which was, that's an interesting, I hadn't seen this book before, and that's, I'll have to get a copy of that. That's an interesting book.
Yeah. It's Hemp Husbandry, and it's by Robert A. Nelson, and it really goes into the great details about how to grow hemp. And our state right now has legal, we have rights to grow hemp. And there are farmers, lots of you, who need a new crop. And if you're interested in this, you can get a hold of this book, Hemp Husbandry by Robert A. Nelson. And it's very interesting because not only will it take it out of our economic, hemp will help us to get us out of our economic crisis, but as this book explains, prohibition is just wrong. And I'd like to read a little bit about it and how much tax dollars that you make and how much you work to make the drug war happen, and what a drain of money the drug war and the military are. America has been fighting the so-called drug war ever since President Nixon cursed the nation with his declaration in 1971. It has been to little avail because the drug war cannot be won. Instead, the institutionalized national psychosis known as the DEA has turned the USA into a police state. Intoxication is a basic drive in the animal world. It cannot be suppressed without generating psychotic consequences. And that's the end of that part. And what that tells us is that we need to have healthy alternatives. I do not do any drugs. I believe that cannabis, weed, is the only one that really is helpful. I don't like any kind of white drugs, or that's just all kinds of trouble. Alcohol, cigarettes, no way. So, yeah.
I've heard it said that marijuana is not a drug. Marijuana is a plant with a drug in it.
Yeah, yeah, it's a plant.
So, yeah, and that's just it. So, we appreciate Eileen coming this evening, and I see you brought the Hemper Wears No Clothes, a copy of that.
Yeah, we got that.
Yeah,
Jack Harris classic.
That's another excellent resource on hemp, probably one of the most well-known books in the movement. And so you had anything else you bring that you wanted to share?
Well, I wanted to sing a song when you're you feel that would be good. But
well, we better go now because we're right at the end of our segment.
Okay. Overgrowing the government is the key. And we are Americans. We are great gardeners and great farmers. And it's very important that we grow our own. And this song is the latest thing I've heard from Willie Nelson. Nothing so sweet as your homegrown. There's nothing so sweet as your own homegrown. Nothing so sweet as your homegrown. Nothing so sweet as your own homegrown. So clean, so green, you've been there on the scene ever since it was a little seed, yes. So clean, so green, you've been there on the scene ever since it was a little seed, yes. And there's nothing so sweet as your homegrown. Nothing so sweet as your own homegrown. Love you.
Beautiful. Thank you. And next time we want to hear that in French.
Okay.
Eileen speaks fluent French, so it's not only Eileen is to treat the eyes with the ears alone as well. She speaks French. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful language. So, well, thank you for coming, Eileen.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing you next week. We'll have lots of surprises for you.
That's right. Great. Thank you. Well, we're going to back out here and we'll keep tuned for what's coming up next. Thank you.
Woo!
Hi, my name is Alex Rogers. I'm the Outreach Coordinator of Pro Oregon. Today is October 2nd, Saturday, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the launching of ProOregon.org. Pro Oregon is a non-profit organization that is dedicated to ending the war on drugs. Our political director, Anthony Johnson, has co-authored Measure 74, which is on this November's Oregon State ballot. What Measure 74 will do is it'll create a regulated supply system that will enable patients to have safe access to their medicine. Right now, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but when one gets their Oregon medical marijuana card, most folks do not have access to their medicine and have to procure it on the black market. Measure 74 will change that. So join us in our campaign to pass the word about Measure 74. There's a lot of things you can do to help us. One thing you can do is you can disseminate our commercial video throughout the web to all your web connections. That's very important, and we suggest and encourage you to do so. Another thing you can do is donate to Pro Oregon. There's donate buttons all around the Pro Oregon site. Just push it, donate. Every little bit helps. So check out our website and stay in touch with Pro Oregon because we have daily updates on what's going on with Measure 74. And remember, the most important thing is vote yes on Measure 74.
Are you tired of following all the rules? Ready to let loose? Have a little fun? Sounds like you need to. Get high. And with Narcomex Incorporated, your direct-to-consumer drug trafficking solution, you can. Narcomex values your business. That's why we're your #1 supplier of drugs, and you're our #1 consumer. These billions can't be wrong. We work hard for your business and have killed not 1, not 2, but 3 Mexican police and 2 journalists just to keep you high with that very joint. Why, our commitment to keeping you supplied has killed over 17,000 people right next door. Traffickers, soldiers, journalists, prosecutors, you name it. We're that passionate about your business. We've even begun to destroy some of your favorite tropical beach destinations. Because if you smoke enough at home, you don't even need a beach. But don't legalize it or grow it at home. Let us do the work for you. Sure, consumers boycotted evil companies, but there's no need to boycott Narcomex Incorporated, your direct-to-consumer drug trafficking solution. Also offering heroin, meth, and cocaine. Narcomex Incorporated. Live a little and forget others won't.
Good evening. You made it to another segment of the Eugene Cannabis TV. We have our friend Steve with us here, and second time on the show. And when they talk about medical marijuana, well, Steve is a medical marijuana patient, and he's living it. So when people tell you that, oh, well, it's anecdotal, you know, I always said anecdotal to me is like a polite way of saying it could be all in your head. So are you sure it's not all in your head? It's helping you?
It's happening.
Really?
It's
Well,
happening.
tell us your experiences, Steve. Your tincture and your medical problem, and catch people up on what's going on.
I was in a clinic in Reno, Nevada, and they brought me the article from High Times magazine about Rick Simpson and his experience with making oil out of the herb. And so I asked them if they would help me with that, and they ordered me a machine that will extract the oil out of the herb, and I've been doing that. And this is an example of the oil I've been making, and this represents about 7 ounces of medical marijuana. And you can see the bottle is just a little bit over half full. Very expensive. I'm in my 4th week of taking it, and the tumors have come down slightly. I'm expecting to be cured. I don't know whether that's the only thing I'm going to be doing to cure myself. I may be doing chemo. I'm also taking a lot of supplements to keep my immune system healthy through this ordeal. But it's been 2 years since I had my diagnosis of hypopharyngeal carcinoma, and it hasn't metastasized anywhere, so that's really good news. And the best news of all is that I feel this oil is really working. And I have great hope, not only for myself, but for all the people out there who are suffering from this disease.
Now this is, but I'd say what, 1/8 of a cup maybe?
This is
liquid in this bottle?
This is
you know?
about 7 milliliters.
Okay. And how much cannabis did it, or how many buds did it take to make this?
I get about a milliliter per ounce. So that it's quite expensive.
Yeah,
I mean, this is $250 times 7, plus my work at cutting the bud up and filling the machine and getting it running. And I run the machine for 4 hours, and it extracts this oil.
Yeah, we hope to get a camera and we'll get over to Steve's place when he's making this product and actually film it and then have it on the show to show how it's done. It's interesting how we are actually he's making his own medicine, you know, and that's just like the way it used to be in the old days. But yeah, it's fascinating. Yeah, Rick Simpson, Run from the Cure. Do a search on that, and you'll find some really interesting information.
Yeah, it's at www.phoenixtears.ca. That's PHOENIXTEARS.ca, Canada, and you'll see all about Rick.
That's right. I forgot about that .ca instead of .com. That's .ca.
Yeah.
So yeah, check it out, and it is truly amazing. Now, and you have your you call it tincture, I think, right?
No, it's pure essential oil.
Essential oil. That's right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Essential oil. Now, you also smoke cannabis, or you
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I smoke in a vaporizer now.
Okay.
But I used to smoke a pipe, and I've been smoking since I was 18, and I'm 65. Part of the reason I believe I don't have anything in my lungs at all is because I've been smoking cannabis. And according to the studies, if you smoke the herb, the lungs cannot get cancer. I don't know if that's the truth, and I'm not a medical doctor, but I don't have it. So, and I smoked cigarettes as well for 45 years. And if that's not a, and it could be part of the cause of my throat cancer, because cigarettes and even smoking herb from a pipe or a joint is harsh on the throat and the whole system. Smoke by itself is carcinogenic, any kind of smoke.
Plus you get carbon monoxide, and so a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, tars and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the vaporizer, now, people aren't familiar with the vaporizer, especially if you're a patient not familiar with vaporizer. There's some organizations around town that have meetings, and once in a while people will bring vaporizers to those meetings, and that's a good opportunity to really see how one works. And some of them are quite expensive, so you definitely want to try it and see if you like it before you invest the money in it. There's all different price ranges, but generally they're the upper end because they're not cheap. But like Steve said, there's no carcinogens in it, and it's a lot healthier. According to a friend of mine who was telling me that smoking it, you actually, you're only getting, I think, less than a third of what you really want to get by smoking it. Vaporizing is actually more effective.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, a vaporizer to me makes me cough for some reason, so I end up, I'm still smoking, I guess. But
you may have it turned too high.
It could be. Yeah. I know. I tried out a homemade one time, and that worked really well. In fact, I was kind of wishing I'd sat down before I started because I got pretty lightheaded there. So, but
what I don't like about the vaporizer is that I can't taste the herb, and I mean I love the taste, and the taste oftentimes brings back old memories right to the moment. Old tastes and things like that.
Another question too. Now, on the essential oil, when you use that, now are you getting a psychoactive response from that as you use it?
My partner took 1 drop under his tongue and said it was pre-psychedelic. I take 5 drops in a capsule, and it doesn't do anything. If I take 5 drops under my tongue, it is quite stony.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's because it goes right into my blood.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that was a lady did a tincture class at the Oregon Green Free meeting one time, and that's what she was telling us is that if you wanted to go, that's the fastest way to your bloodstream is under your tongue.
Yes, it also bypasses the liver.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
yes.
Interesting. Yeah, because she was saying that she says on the rare occasion that I have to take an OxyContin, she says I put it under my tongue. She says that's the quickest way to the bloodstream. But interesting, it bypasses the liver that way. Interesting.
Yeah, it'd be a pretty hard experience taking OxyContin under the tongue.
I would think so. I don't know. Yeah, never had one, so I don't know.
Well, I'm on oxycodone because this hurts a lot, and they're pretty nasty tasting.
I bet. Yeah, I suppose so. Well, that's So in your travels now, since you've had the tumor and all that, have you other patients come forward now that you are you getting much feedback?
I'm getting calls from people who want me to, who are interested in the oil and want me to make it for them, and I am perfectly willing to do that as soon as I'm done with my cure. And as a matter of fact, if anybody needs the oil, I'd be happy to make it for them. You can contact me at my email, ltdco3@aol.com. That's Larry, Tom, David, Charlie, Oscar 3@aol.com, and we will work a deal for my labor in making it, and I'm really bent on making oil for people who need it.
Yeah, that's. Are you been connected with the Oregon Green Free organization?
No.
We need to get you in connection with them, especially the local chapter, and then Voter Power. Actually, need to have you come to the what they call the Patient Resource Days. That would be a great thing. That way, you could be talking to more patients and getting the word out.
I'm a member of Compassion Center in Eugene.
Okay. Good.
And that's where I got my medical marijuana card. Mm-hmm. But I'm open to any organization that is furthering this. This is medicine not just for cancer, but for just like Rick says, for all different kinds of diseases. And I'm looking forward to getting a lab that can test the oil and give us a report on what constituents it has, whether it has more CBDs than THC, and what other cannabinoids are in it.
Yeah, that's excellent. Well, that's what we need is definitely more research and have her come out of the closet, so to speak, and let people know what's going on. So, well, we appreciate having Steve here this evening and catching us up on his journey, I guess you could call it. And I'm sure Steve will come back again and help us. And if you want to get a hold of him, we'll have his email address be on your screen as well, or you can send an email to dankbagman@eugenecannabistv.org, and I'll get a hold of him that way too. So we thank you, Steve.
You're welcome.
Back out, and we'll be back later. Thank you.
Peace, love, and light.
Legalize